Who doesn't love a good comic book movie? Well, considering how many there are right now, I can actually see a lot of people opting for something else. Some audiences may not want to see a bunch of CG superpowers for the upteenth time. Marvel in particular has been criticized for being heavy on special effects and light on variety. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Marvel. They've taken many seemingly ridiculous characters and crafted some surprisingly good stories around them. However, with as many popcorn flicks as they've pumped out over the years, it's understandable to feel a sense of fatigue. Why not give us something different? The answer to that question came in the form of the TV series Agent Carter. Seeing as the viewership for this show was pretty low, some of you might not be familiar with it. Let's start at the beginning. The character of Peggy Carter was a secret agent who appeared in the first Captain America movie, serving as both a valuable ally and an eventual love interest for the titular hero. Unfortunately, the fact that he was frozen in a block of ice and presumed dead kind of puts a damper in their relationship. Luckily, this didn't keep her down for long, as we saw her once again hard at work in a short film that was included in the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray. The positive reaction to this ultimately led Marvel to develop a TV series detailing the character's adventures following World War II. Well, if the first season is any indication, I think we're in for an interesting show. Our story begins with Peggy Carter struggling to prove her worth as an agent at the Strategic Scientific Reserve. This proves difficult in 1940s New York City, where her male coworkers don't see her as a valuable asset to the agency. One day, Peggy is approached by her old friend Howard Stark, who's now on the run after his most dangerous weapons were stolen and put on the black market. Aided by Stark's butler Jarvis, our heroine must find the culprits and unravel a slew of mysteries if she hopes to clear her friend's name. Now, what's immediately noticeable is that this is Marvel's first project with a female lead. Some people might be thinking, why couldn't Black Widow get a show like this? Yeah, maybe she would have if she wasn't as dull as a rock. Besides, she's always showing up in other characters' movies, so it all balances out. Speaking of those other films though, don't expect this to contain the same big budget spectacles that you see in something like Iron Man or the Avengers. One of the biggest appeals to this series, especially in relation to other Marvel properties, is that it doesn't contain that much action. It takes its time in building suspense and weaving an intriguing story. The only time when I felt the storytelling faltered is toward the end, when the villain reveals an ability that honestly seems more like a plot convenience than anything. This slower approach might bore some viewers looking for a more explosive experience, but I found the finished product to be an exceedingly refreshing tale that had me invested throughout its 8-episode run. One of the most significant reasons for that is the main star, Hayley Atwell. I've been a fan of hers ever since Pillars of the Earth, and she doesn't disappoint here. She charismatically conveys the no-nonsense toughness that the character is known for, but where she really shines is during the moments of vulnerability and uncertainty. The emotional depth that the writers give Peggy here allows her to go from a supporting character to a powerful lead, and Atwell has the presence and talent to pull off this transition with flying colors. Another familiar face is Howard Stark, who's also fleshed out a bit more here. Dominic Cooper still has fun with the enjoyable smarminess, but again, it's how he handles the character's emotional turmoil and sense of regret that resonates much more strongly.
Let me tell you, you don't get to climb the American ladder without picking up some bad habits on the way. There's a ceiling for certain types of people based on how much money your parents have, your social class, your religion, your sex.
These dramatic scenes give him more of his own identity beyond just Iron Man light. That's not to say that he doesn't have his own butler, who actually turns out to be one of the best new characters. Not only do James Darcy's nervous energy and classic politeness make Jarvis endlessly endearing, but he also has terrific chemistry with Atwell that just lights up the screen whenever they play off of each other.
Are you trying to butter me up, Mr. Jarvis?
Not merely pleased to receive your call.
Well, you are faster than a train.
If only the other male characters were as charming. Ralph Brown is amusingly enigmatic, but the SSR agents leave much to be desired. There's nothing really wrong with the performances. Shea Whigham and Chad Michael Murray play their parts as they're written, but the problem is that their characters aren't given any real dimension until later in the season. I understand that the writers are portraying the sexism that was going on at the time, but that shouldn't come at the cost of character depth.
I guess in this society, being male and an asshole makes you worthy of our time.
Enver Jokai fares a bit better, but even he can't keep from being somewhat bland at times. I had much more fun with the likable silliness that Neil McDonough brought to Dum Dum Dugan. I also enjoyed Lindsay Fonseca's outgoing enthusiasm as Peggy's waitress friend Angie. The friendship that forms between these two is developed enough to be believable while casual enough to not become overdone. However, she pales in comparison to Bridget Regan as Dottie. Spoiler alert, she's nuts.
Hey, you want to see crazy? I'll tell you.
Her unhinged performance is fairly unsettling, especially when she puts on the facade of a ditzy blonde. One moment that really stands out is when we learn that, because of her treatment as a child, she handcuffs herself to her bed before going to sleep. Creepy, yet effective. The same can be said for the production values. Well, not the creepy part. You get the idea. The sets, props, and costumes all do an excellent job of placing you in this period setting. Impressive as these are, though, what really stands out are the little touches of authenticity that happen to make for some clever comedy. For instance, there's a Captain America radio show that makes fun of the gender stereotypes that were going on at the time, and pays homage to old radio serials like The Adventures of Superman.
Who writes this rubbish?
I rather enjoy it, actually.
In addition, the stylish musical score by Christopher Lennertz, as well as the songs used, gives the series an enjoyably classy atmosphere. When all is said and done, Agent Carter's first season overcomes its initial issues in characterization with endearing performances, remarkable production values, an interesting atmosphere, a steadily paced mystery, and an immensely empowering female lead. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, and/or comment. Until next time.